It is a loaded field for the second heat of the women's 3,000 meters. Just take a listen. You have the last two ACC cross-country champions represented in Dorcas Wasike of Louisville and Paige Stoner of Syracuse. Stoner was the champion of the 5,000 last night. Wasike, the runner-up. You have last year's ACC champion in this event, Ellie Hennes, back for North Carolina State. This is going to be fun, David.
This is really a great field. Some accomplished runners, and they are ready to go out here. They've run against each other so many times. They know their strengths and weaknesses, but still they've got to come out and try to execute. And just because they're favorites on paper doesn't mean that the other runners aren't going to come in there and try to disrupt that and get into the scoring and onto the podium themselves. And we see that right now with Kelly Hayes. She was 5th in the ACC steeplechase, 8th in last night's 5K for Pitt. She's out in front, leading the way.
Ellie Hennes, the junior from North Carolina State, currently occupying the 4th spot for the Wolfpack. The Hennes name familiar for Wolfpack fans. Both her parents, Lori and Bob, were Wolfpack standouts. Her mother serves as the head track and field coach for North Carolina State. Lori was a national champion in her day, an All-American in cross country, while the father, Bob, was a former Wolfpack All-American in cross country and track. So they have those genes, and they've always been the red and white of NC State.
And Paige Stoner, we see, again, the 5K champion last night in a very dramatic finish. She is an All-American in the steeplechase, cross country, and the indoor 5K, finishing up an outstanding career at Syracuse. She's in the orange.
What's the recovery for athletes like Stoner and Wasike and some of these other runners to come back from that 5,000 last night and now get ready to perform at a peak level and try to capture this 3,000 title?
As well trained as they are and as strong as they are, it's probably more the emotional recovery than anything else. To be able to come back, the emotional high for Stoner, the emotional low and frustration for Wasike, it makes a big difference. And we'll see, right now we've already noticed that Wasike is running toward the outside so that she doesn't get boxed in the way she did last night. You see her right now in lane 2, Dorcas Wasike, All-American in cross country and at 10K, where she was the NCAA silver medalist at 10K. And she is the gold medalist, as you mentioned, Sean, in cross country, and then at 5K and 10K as well. So she's got quick strike capability out there, but she wasn't able to pull that off when Stoner was able to run her off of that screen like a basketball player would do, like a point guard rubbing her defender off on the screen on the lapped runner at the end of that 5K.
It certainly was a veteran move by Stoner as she picked her time to make the move, and she certainly did that. Other competitors to keep an eye on: Florida State looking for that team title, and they're counting on Melissa Mercheva to get some points. Mercheva, for the Seminoles, she's been the most consistent long-distance runner this year for Coach Bob Raymond and company.
She has Olympic experience. She was an Olympic marathon runner for her native Bulgaria. In Bulgaria, she was the national champion at 3K, 5K, 10K, and the steeplechase. So she's been competing at a high level for a very long time, since she was quite young, and now she's out there competing collegiately. And she seems to have run the marathon training out of her legs now, and she's getting PRs in the mile. She ran the fastest split second fastest split behind Hennes on the anchor leg of the DMR, and they were silver medalists, scoring a lot of points for the Noles there. So Mercheva, she's kind of hanging back right now. She's number 15 next to Stoner.
And when you look at the scoring, though, it's 81 points for Miami, 79 for Florida State. Florida State has to score points here. They absolutely have to score and get ahead of Miami, because Miami is coming into the women's 4x4 with the top 4x4 in the conference, and they're leaps and bounds ahead of anybody else in the conference. So you can almost guarantee that they're going to get their 10 points in that event.
4.5 laps to go in the women's 3,000 meters. Ellie Hennes has made the biggest move for North Carolina State, the defending ACC champion in this event, slowly, methodically working her way into striking position.
And if we look in lane number 2 there, we've got the 4 women that we featured: Hennes, Mercheva, Wasike, and Stoner, all out there trying to make sure they don't get caught up in that traffic, being ready to make the big move when the time comes. So they're about 800 meters to go. We expect somebody to bust a big move here and then see who can respond and who is unable to respond. Might be Stoner right here.
I agree. Paige Stoner starting to make that move. Big pressure on the Bulgarian Mercheva. Remember, as Dan mentioned, Florida State needs these team points as they go into the 4x4. The Canes, one of the favorites in that event. So Mercheva not only trying to chase down ACC individual glory, but she's representing the Seminoles in a big way. So lots of different storylines intertwining in the women's 3,000.
It would do them well to get away from this pack if they can do it sometime soon, because they're getting other runners with ideas about going wide and getting up into the lead. They don't want to have to pass somebody in front of them. They've been running wide on purpose to stay clear.
Hayes, Hennis, Mercheva. Hennis on the outside. This has been her comfort area. She's been able to get that comfort level as far as separation and space, and as a result, she starts to make her move, and Hennis goes into that top spot with 2 laps to go. The final 400 meters of the women's 3,000. Mercheva second. Here comes Stoner. We saw that kick last night in the 5,000. Wasike working her way into the picture as well.
Wasike has got to be determined not to let that happen to her again with Paige Stoner. I think she is going to turn on the jets anytime soon, but they are all moving very quickly now. The pace quickening. They were under 38 seconds on that last lap, all of the leaders. Hennis out in front and in control. Can anybody track her down?
The final 200 meters. This is going to be entertaining. You have Wasike and Stoner, Mercheva all trying to track down and chase down the defending champ Hennis. Here comes Wasike on the back stretch into the turn. Hennis maintains the in-tie position. Wasike coming on the outside. Mercheva, Florida State third. Wasike and Hennis. Louisville will not be denied today. Wasike with a kick. She's your ACC champ.
9:24.05. Dorcas Wasike. Fortune did not smile upon her last night in the 5K, and she took things into her own hands here with a strong kick. She closed in 30.65 for that last 200, by far the fastest close. Dorcas Wasike, the sophomore, adding to her long list of credentials here in the ACC.
Well, I got a chance to see her after that 5,000 meters. She didn't look happy during the podium ceremony. Tears in the warm-up area, and she was visibly upset that she didn't get a victory last night. She ran very, very determined today.
And as you said, Dan, Mercheva needing to score points comes up with a very strong third place. Wasike, once she made that move, it took a while to get around Hennis. Hennis did everything she could to hold on to that inside position on the curve, making Wasike run longer. But once they hit the straightaway, Wasike was just turning over faster. There was nothing more that Hennis could do. Wasike with the strength then to utilize that speed, and she got the win.